Alright guys, RussianJ here for Test Squadron. I'm with the man, Disco Lando of CIG here guys. This is your community manager. I'm sorry, you're stuck with this guy. So we're at PAX here. What so far has really driven this home for you? What's unique about PAX?
Unique about PAX? Well, I guess there's a whole lot of streaming presence here. I've seen a lot of booths where they have the streamers who are playing the games actually there in the booths demoing the games, and you don't see that quite so much at E3. E3 is what they have in our neck of the woods, being in LA, and it's a more polished. Everybody's just sort of showing off for the other vendors. It's a lot less about the people. This one is much more about the people than something like E3 is. So that's the biggest thing I've noticed so far, is a lot of the actual people that are playing the games in the booths, working the booths with the vendors, and I think that's very cool.
So obviously, as a Star Citizen organization here, we are immensely entertained down here. We got a lot of fellow streamers. We've got lots of CIG employees down here. I got you, for instance. I don't know how this worked. I'm still swooning over here, guys. Send me some air. But for CIG, where do you guys want to go in the near future? Got anything for us that you want to mention in here?
Well, considering that we do 4 broadcasts every week, that's primarily where we put new information out. It's not really, this wouldn't be the place to reveal any new information. But 2.2 is cooking. That's what we hope will be our February post. Lots of cool stuff, including enhancements to the party system. And that'll be a big thing. The party system as it is isn't great. It's not what we envisioned. It's kind of what we had to do, what we could do at the time we wanted to push the rest of the game out. But now with the first real workings of the party system that will eventually make it into the game, folks will be able to join a group and easily get into a game instance together.
So we're looking a bit more like our classic code party system almost?
What party system?
The old code system where we used to have the code we used to punch in.
No. Yeah, you're still going to be able to. It works off your friends list.
Okay.
You'll add people from your friends list into an invite system. Okay. It's actually there already. If you go to the hangar, you can join groups. The problem is that group doesn't carry over to Crusader.
Okay.
Now it will. So you'll form the groups, and then when you join a Crusader, it'll say there's 5 people in this group. So if there's a server that can fit 5, you go into that server. If there's not, it'll spool up a new server and dump the 5 of you in the new server.
Beautiful. So right there, guys, that's one of our big concerns right now. Is I can get into a server, maybe will get 1 more person in with me, and I have 4 people sitting there spamming that button trying to get in. This guy's got the solution to how to get us in all together, get us all playing on one server. That's going to be awesome. 2 big questions I've had, though, from a lot of test members mentioning here. When are we going to see an increase to our organization skills? When can we do more on the RSI forums right now as an organization? I don't have a whole lot of outreach tools to our members right now to communicate. Are we going to see maybe like Org 2.0 in the near future or anything like that?
When there's game systems to support it. Basically, it's kind of what other game in history has had guild tools and stuff before the game actually supported guilds. So we have a little bit of it, but what we want when it comes time to do Org 2.0, it's not just a web team thing. There's going to be game implementation to it, so your org will actually have a presence in the game at the same time as it has a presence on the website. So when that wheel, the development wheel that goes around, and this is what we're working on at 1 o'clock, and this is what we're working on at 2 o'clock, when that wheel comes around to organizations in the game, that's when organizations in the website will also kick up, so they come together. Instead of having all these tools here, and then having to reverse engineer that for the game, we want to develop both of those in concert. Beautiful. So it's just a question of when it comes up in game development.
All right, and we had one major question that was brought up as well, guys. Right now we have 16 players when we run Crusader. Are we looking in the near future an increase, and where would you personally like to see the server get to capacity-wise?
Well, ultimately, we just recently tested expanding the capacity of the instances on pt1 to 24.
Okay.
So that test went very well. It taught us a lot. We're working with that information, and hopefully we'll have an increase in the instance capacity to live very soon. Possibly in 2.2, but possibly in like a 2.21 and 2.22, because 2.2 is more about features and everything, and that's something we can tweak on the back end. So it may not be in the first release. As far as in the game, ultimately, we want this to be a full worldwide thing. There won't be limits on those things. You'll never see I'm joining the European server and there can only be this many people. I'm joining the US server and there can only be this people. You know, by the time we get there, it'll just be you join in and you'll be there with everybody, and the server runs in zones and stuff. So
that sounds awesome. I get a list of questions. This is Harbinger 8 of some backers that asked if we happen to bump into any CIG guys, if we'd be willing to hit them up with various questions. Some of these won't apply to you directly, obviously.
All right, a little bit.
I have filtered out the wins.
okay.
But if there's anything in there that you're okay, comfortable talking about, please, by all means,
Sure.
throw in your 2 cents.
All right, guys. This is actually coming from Huggy
We'll let
Sockface.
him read over your shoulder, too, so he can
I got a
see.
Starfarer. They want to know, can I fit smaller ships inside of the Starfarer?
We'll have to wait until it's finished to tell. The Starfarer has been being developed almost exclusively by the UK team, and I don't have a lot of visibility over the UK team. Chances are, when you guys see the finished Starfire, it will only be a couple days after I see it. So I don't know the answer to that one just yet.
And another one I haven't heard too much on lately. What about the Prowler? Do we have any information on the Prowler?
They're still working on the Prowler. Uses Tavaran technology. We haven't fleshed out the Tavaran yet, so we need to finish figuring out who the Tavaran are, what they are, what they're like, and so we can use that information to inform the design of the Tavaran or the Prowler. So right now we're working on figuring out the Tavaran. Once we have that, we can start working on the Prowler. Going back to the Starfarer thing, I will say I saw a gray box model of it, and we were able to fit an entire M50 in the cockpit.
There you go, guys.
Now that's
a
passing
big
through
cockpit.
geometry. You can't do that in the game, but that's how big that ship is. An M50 fits in the cockpit of the Starfarer.
That's pretty impressive.
So
Another thing they want to know. So right now we have our starter ships. I have my Aurora. Aurora is an amazing cargo ship, as what you can see on there. I can haul a little bit of a small store-on box in the back. I've got my Mustangs, which are pretty well balanced, and I can haul a lot of combat equipment on that. We have a little bit more moving to Reliant Field, a bit more well-rounded, larger cargo. Are we going to see a mining ship, like an entry mining ship or anything like that coming out in the future?
almost certainly, it's not to say that we have a plan for it right now. It's that if you figure that some ships are designed to be starters, and some ships are designed to be, all right, after you've gotten a couple hours into the game, you move up to these kind of ships, and then other ships like, well, after you've had a couple weeks and whatnot in the game, you move up to something like the Orion kind of thing. There's going to be a need for ships in those locations at smaller fields. So I would say there's almost certainly, I can't imagine us not doing it. It's just that it's not in the plan right now this minute. But that doesn't mean we won't have a meeting on Monday and put it in the plan. It just means we haven't had the meeting yet, that's all.